Hey guys, welcome to episode number 22 this week. With your king and your luckiest man. This is an episode number 22 this week. The Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles. Once again, guys, we're back with another week. And, you know, you guys remember what I've been up to, but I'll get to that in just a minute. But forward or pretty much not exactly odd or anything. Nothing else would really be, misjudged or be misunderstood on any
Of course.
parts or
I was born for this.
anything that's not been forgotten or
At
pretty
your
much
command.
anything
Ready.
clear. But today, guys,
It's time.
your king and your luckiest man. I'm still feeling good as far as I know. I always get a good night's sleep every time. It's just not to have any guilty pleasure as much. But today, guys, today is March 26th, 2026. I'm gonna start with a little something to add. Since it's been like 1 week, and just to really don't have any broken mirrors or sleepless or anything. Guys, I'm gonna start with work first. So apparently, see, for the last couple of days have been good. As King Guys and the Luckiest Man, and got a nice tip yesterday. So I still got the same schedule every week now. The original, and worked about 20 hours this past week, and just to really just have enough judgmental and just keep something much more extra, to pocket or translate for a while. But it has been another week, guys. That's the really transition. So you guys remember, my current days are still the same. Not to lose electricity or losing parts of our body entirely, but let's get something much more to stress, fellas. It's King Guys and the Luckiest Man, so just to have enough to bond, have enough to really transition, and have enough to deal with it for the time being. So, but today, guys, I repeat, today is the 26th of this month. And ever since this past Sunday, we finally are starting spring now. During the last number of days, since we recently had our times changed due to the spring stuff for a while, and having enough privilege attachment, so nothing else would really be self-considered or brainless as much. Now before we get to anything, guys,
My turn.
I'm gonna start with a little bit of major breaking news for the last number of days this week. As long as nothing else has been off the hook or anything. So, as far as I know, now for those who did check out, the 2 new trailers now were pretty much displayed through IGN on YouTube. Like, for example, the final part of Dune that actually showcases the returning actors, Timothy Chalamet, Jason Momoa, Zendaya, and a bunch of other actors that are returning. That will still not be a change of plan, for the current dates, the current matters, the current measures and whatnot. But it will still, as far as I know, guys, they will still be tackling Avengers Doomsday. That's pretty much, guys, what Love and I still want to tackle. That's still exactly the resemblance, and, we still want to work something out for that. And, just take our time with them. So, and then the other trailer was, well, I know Doomsday is going to be really soon, but we don't have to get ourselves by stretching our legs further, or pretty much have, less to worry, or pretty much less to not ruin anything. As King Guys and the Luckiest Man, to have enough privilege and enough attachment. So, guys, that's the first trailer. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, I can't really think of the other one, if it comes back to me. And then we And then, now, despite the fact, guys, if you want to talk about trailers,
Right.
well, I've heard a little more. I mean, I've been checking out what's been going on, for the last number of days, and no, this is pretty much gonna be, surprising you guys. Or if you talk about battling orcs, if you talk about battling with hobbits or anything, so there is some major breaking news that I've been, checking out yesterday, and let's get right to it, guys. It's King Guys and the Luckiest Man. So apparently, according, you
I'm up
guys remember
against it.
how there's been a lot of movies that you pretty much get from, films to books, books to movies. Well, let's get right to the point, guys. It's
Where
King
to?
Guys and the Luckiest Man. So apparently,
Thanks.
you guys remember who
Just
still
getting
produces
started.
and pretty much the ones that are still doing something with Middle Earth. You talk about, going through adventures. You take on Sauron. You take on the late Saruman, which was physically. You talk about, the way stuff has been, the way the other things have been, you know. But apparently, guys, according to Peter Jackson, they actually gave us an update of how Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Golem's been going, which we all know, the actors are coming back next year. But the one that plays Aragorn, son of Arathorn, is not. So apparently, no, he's. I mean, from what I've heard, he's not going to be reprising, back as Aragorn. So we pretty much. I mean, I told you guys who's going to be praising as Aragorn. So that's pretty much not out of Inquisition or have enough judgment to deal with, or pretty much just to have enough strings attachment, or to see what's going to be the plans on top of it. So Peter Jackson actually gave us an update how the Hunt for Golem's going, and he actually did state the following: that the production's been doing well, the directing's been doing well, as far as I know. The movie is still set to release by next year, and going into 2027, but we don't need to worry about that right now. So, but on top of Lord of the Rings, you guys remember who's all? I mean, you guys remember the last Lord of the Rings movie was exactly Return to the King. Was when apparently, guys, I was only like 10 years old. Went to love for the last 9 years. Was recently 16. Let's see what's still in school, as far as I can tell you. And if you guys think that's not enough, well, before I go more further, guys, I do want to thank you guys for joining me this morning. What biggest, strongest, phenomenal, exciting,
So
wonderful,
here it ends.
privilege, a very interesting, high privilege attaching, amazing, strongest, highly anticipated, strongest power of our community.
Back on your
Do
feet.
what we can for one another,
I'm all
take our
right.
time when we get an opportunity, and not get ourselves overwhelming, or we would have somebody be right beside us to see how everything else is going. How work's going, how everything else has been, pretty much may or may not have been. So, everybody's got
I'm
their
ready.
comfortable attachment. Everybody's entitled to their own thing. Everybody's entitled to their own arsenal. So, well, guys, 38.
Turn my luck.
So, actually, starting with a regular battle here today. So,
Come on.
I'm gonna have enough to really, begin with for to start off today. But yeah, I do want to thank you guys for joining me this morning. I repeat, with our biggest, strongest, phenomenal, exciting, highly anticipating, strongest power of our community. Do what we can for one another. Making sure we have our social media, our YouTube accounts, Facebook and Twitter X accounts. And this is pretty much a good start to begin with. But yeah, guys, I repeat, I do want to thank you guys for joining me this morning. This King Guys also in the Luckiest Man, and your two-time first place winner in bowling. So,
Wizened Lord.
this is pretty much not exactly bad, excruciating, or something much more smarter than the other. when everybody's got their own constellation prize. Everybody's got their as long as it's not any cards that are on the table or we talk about on the desk or anything. But yeah, guys, we have our social media, our YouTube accounts, Facebook and Twitter X accounts.
I'm so...
And of course, guys, I repeat, podcast services all around the globe, like
Here
Twitter,
I go.
Facebook, and YouTube, and so much more. Now, let's go ahead and get right down to the point. So, I was talking with my true love and Beryl about of what's been going on with Lord of the Rings, which is pretty much been more of a huge story that Peter Jackson is pretty much doing, and well,
Doesn't look good.
well, apparently, guys, if we want to talk about how much of a pleasure, if we want to talk about how fans got inspired by movies like Lord of the Rings, and another one for Lord of the Rings is The Hobbit. So which we all know, they were written in the books by, you know, way before, they were pretty much aimed anywhere towards it. I mean, you talk about the story, you talk about who's really going to be in it. Well, so as far as I know, actually I'll get to that in a second. I'm gonna catch up with chat. Good morning, Daisy. Shout out. How are you? Amazing Cat Memo. Make a love shout out. How are you today? Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for joining us this morning on this spring Thursday. But I have a fellas. So let's get back to what we're mentioning. So here's the thing. So apparently Peter Jackson provided an update. He recently broke the news that next year's Lord of the Rings Hunt for Golem's been doing well on its production and pretty much directing that he's doing. Now Peter Jackson is actually doing well. He's pretty much doing something that keeps himself busy, not exactly being tired out all of a sudden. And well, the fact is, if we're only expecting Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen's striving for excellence and coming back between the roles for next year, there wouldn't be anywhere else besides Aragorn. Because I'll get to Aragorn. Then you, now as far as the other actors go,
Yes?
I mean, you also have Orlando Bloom as Legolas, for example. And then you have Jonathan Rhys Davies. I was looking up his age yesterday when I was on the call with my true love and Marilyn Spirit yesterday. And, well, I mean, it goes without saying, without having strings attached. And, well, I mean, for the most part, a lot of us know the idea. A lot of us know what's going to be the plan, or pretty much have enough to go straight forward, with, and pretty much get started with. So, so Peter Jackson, his directing is good. He does an enormous, awesome job for what he's been doing since, Lord of the Rings and, The Hobbit and perspective. So, I mean, you know what they say, guys. You separate the man from the boys. Love Skooky, make a love shout out. How are you today? Thank you for coming by this morning on this belated Thursday. It's pretty much more to have enough vibes, enough, curiosity at this point in time. So let's get back to what I was saying, guys. So not only Peter Jackson provided an update on Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, he was also pleased to announce what's going to be next for Middle-earth. Well, let me tell you guys something. I feel like this is interesting. Now this is where everything gets interesting, guys. So apparently, Peter Jackson provides an update besides what's been going on of what he's actually doing, with the Hunt for Gollum for next year. And this is also a little more intriguing. So apparently, from what I've heard, is there's going to be another Lord of the Rings movie. You guys heard me right. It's King Guys and the Luckiest Man, from what I've heard. And there's been a little more speculation about that too. And so apparently, guys, I was going to bring this up. Oh yeah, so, and then the other one I was, thinking about is So, Peter Jackson actually called somebody up
Wherever I'm
through,
needed. I was
via
born for
Skype,
this. I'm ready.
and
Thought you'd never
we
ask.
was calling during this one announcement about Lord of the Rings, and now Lionel's Cookie, I don't believe you've heard about it, or pretty much to, towards attaching it. Oh, Amazing Cat. Oh, wait. We want to be a mod. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me get you one for a second. Alright guys, 643 mods today. There you go. Now, remember guys, if you guys are mods in the chat, you guys can drop your links in the chat if you want. Go right ahead. So, I mean, I wouldn't bite anything. So, so apparently guys, when we heard the news that, we will get another Lord of the Rings movie, now what it actually really does, is pretty much sets up the stage, and it sets up what the plan is after the last and final Lord of the Rings movie. After I mean, you're talking about the titles. You got Fellowship of the Ring. You talk about Two Towers, and yes, guys, Return of the King. So, so apparently, this is pretty much with strings attached, and what's going to be the next thing for the franchise. So from what I've been hearing, so Peter Jackson actually called somebody up, and guess who it was? The one and only, the man that's been doing his talk show host, as a Brotherhood, and a Brotherhood, or pretty much anything else with creation on it, pretty much with salutation on it, and, well, guess who it is, guys? The one and only Steve Colbert. Now, Steve Colbert he's actually been doing his talk show, I believe, for the last, I want to say, I know it's been more than like 5 or 7 years at a time. When he's been making money and money, guys, hundreds of dollars every time, and thousands of dollars when he's actually doing interviews, hosting a TV show, or you talk about hosting a
I
podcast.
must concentrate.
So apparently, Peter Jackson calls up Steve Colbert, and I actually said this with my true love yesterday. My true love and Beryl at the end of the night, and I told him what was going on and what's been going on with Lord of the Rings, and so from what I've been told, guys, there's been like multiple sources. Actually, not one source, but exactly multiple sources. So the reason why Peter Jackson called up Steve Colbert is because Steve Colbert has
Let's
actually
get this
been
over
influenced by
with.
movies for a long time. Now, I mean, if you talk about, doing your own thing, you talk about doing partnership, if you're looking to, help out any movie, any franchise of any kind, you can decide how you guys want to make it better, how much help you really need, and I did check out this I did check out the article, just to mention on it. We'll get to in-gaming news in just a little bit. So for what I've been reading is the fact that I repeat, guys, Peter Jackson and Steve Colbert were talking a little bit, and apparently J.K. Tolkien is not happy about it because I mean this is pretty much his or her train of thought, and I was talking with my true love for the last 9 years for our future a little bit more about it, and apparently the person behind the books, the people behind Lord of the Rings by writing books, turning them into movies, as they are Tolkien. Which we all know Tolkien's been doing Lord of the Rings since exactly day one. And so basically, if you look at it, you also have different shows. Like for example, you have the Rings of Power. That's pretty much inspired by Lord of the Rings. You also have, Game of Thrones is different from, Lord of the Rings, and also the Chronicles of Narnia. So apparently, guys, we already know what the plan is for Lord of the Rings, Hunt for Goblin for next year, and that is that Andy Serkis will be in front and pretty much behind the camera, from what we've been told, multiple, multiple sources. And then, you guys heard me right. You guys know what we're talking about for a second. So apparently, we are
My turn.
also, from what I've heard, that's who Peter Jackson was pretty much getting to. And when he actually called up Steve Colbert, I mean, during this establishment, that we are getting a second Lord of the Rings project. And it is exactly, guys, going to be a sequel to the last Lord of the Rings, or LOTR, of Return of the King. So, as we all know, that movie was the last one of our kind, or pretty much all mankind, since 2003. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to work out. So, so I told my true love and, you know, and pretty much some interesting stuff, what's going to be happening with, and what we're leaning towards, strongly leaning towards, coming out of Peter Jackson, and
Stay strong.
want to see if Colbert wants to really write for, the sequel to Return of the King for the future. But, I would assume, I mean, now my question is, guys, if we're actually getting a sequel called, now this new sequel to Return of the King, guys, Steve Colbert did actually announce it's going to be called The Lord of the Rings Shadow of the Past. Now, I mean, I talked a little bit more about details yesterday. And the fact is, if we actually are getting that sequel, depending who's going to be in it, depends who's going to be striving for it. And so we talked a little bit of something basic last night between my musketeer and I, with the horns on it. And, well, she told me if Orlando Bloom is not returning as Legolas, after next year, that she's not going to be watching the movie. So, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about that, fellas. Not to have anything being strings attached or anything. If we're pretty much looking at to see what's going to be the plan that Steve Colbert is working on, well, apparently, guys, let me tell you a little bit about what the sequel is going to be, what the story behind it is going to be like. Just the info a bit. So apparently, guys, back when Lord of the Rings, with all three movies, you still had the same villain. You have, Christopher Lee as Saruman, and he partnered up so well, towards the Eye of Sauron, just to take over, Mordor, and you talk about the fires of Mount Doom back then, and so with everything else being, not exactly under repeat or pretty much exactly what we're pretty much in store for the sequel to Return of the King.
You can sleep later.
So apparently, guys,
All right.
we all know. I mean, you guys understand. Tolkien, he spent a lot of his time, thousands and thousands of pages of material, between every single Lord of the Rings movie, but not to mention The Hobbit too. So here's the thing, guys. The thing about the sequel, which is now known, Lord of the Rings: Shadow of the Past, it's going to be involving, first and second ages, an original plot, and when you talk about an original war, but taking on the Dark Lord Morgoth. So, as a matter of fact, it actually is pretty much a post-Return of the King timeline. So, one of them was exactly type flipped, but let me tell you guys something. Back when Saruman was actually ruling the world, you guys remember he took out the only man that was behind as a wizard, and that was Ian McKellen as Gandalf back then. So, and then you talk about, ruling with something different. You want to take over the entire area. You want to battle orcs. You want to battle for survival. Between life or death and whatnot. Well, think about this one sequel.
With creation's
It really does tell something on it. So, and it does tell a little bit more about Aragorn, and we pretty much know what the plans are for that. So I was telling my two love and I were talking a little more about that, during this type of situation. And, you know, that's a spitball of what the plans are between, what's going to be going on for,
I'll take care of that.
Shadow of the Past of Lord of the Rings. So as far as I know, um, Masula was asking about if, she was only asking if Little Boom is returning, but we'll get to that part in a second. So, apparently, guys, now the actors that will not be back in it is the one that's been with every single Lord of the Rings movie for a long time. Now, these characters were not exactly rephrasing as the hobbits. Now, just to name a few, you've got Eliza Wood. Now, Eliza Wood is not going to be done with Frodo Baggins until he's pretty much done at this point in time. So, we all know he actually is returning with Ian McKellen, alongside Ian McKellen as Gandalf, and him as Eliza Wood, and you guys remember what I mentioned earlier, that the British actor is reprising, and will be playing as Aragorn, and what's
Come on.
not to have anything else, balance place to place or anything. So that's exactly what we're actually leaning towards. That's exactly what Steve Colbert's leaning towards. So that's pretty much tight, and having the time frame and the time set. Now, if you want to talk about the hobbits, you talk about I repeat, Elijah Wood is not going to be done with. He's taking his time if he wants to really, you know, keep doing what he's doing. But
Allow me.
you cannot keep the One Ring forever. It just depends on if there's a curse on it, if there's some sort of thing that would really attach the war, or calling the dangerous golem, if you will. So here's the thing about the sequel, fellas. Not only is pretty much about that. So if you want to talk about the characters, so you talk about hobbits, like, I repeat, fellas, you've got Frodo, you've got Sam, Merry, and Pippin back then. I feel like all four of them worked real well together. I've always thought they did, during that time, and battling alongside, and get a lot of protection to detail, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't take anything of what Steve Colbert is taking from it. So he was inspired by movies, for something like this, between Lord of the Rings, reaching anything else between Middle Earth, besides Game of Thrones being involved. So apparently, guys, now the details between every single character. So I repeat, fellas, you've got Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. Jonathan Rhys Davies, guys? He's actually like 79. His last movie was the very, very, very last movie that he actually worked with.
Got me to
When he actually was in his last Doctor Jones movie with Harrison Ford over the years. Which they've actually,
improve.
I've always thought they partnered up well together too. During that time, and it brings enough to really consider. It does have enough to really, not to sue anybody else alive for it. And also the hobbits. Talking about Frodo against Gandalf sailing to the west. So we don't know what's going to be going on.
My turn.
You guys remember these two faced a bunch of struggles when Sauron was taking over, and he actually did. So yeah, Sauron actually wanted the ring, from Frodo at this point. This was pretty much leaned towards him and Gollum at the time. So now, as far as Aragorn goes, basically, guys, Aragorn, all he actually wants is to provide, peace and prosperity for mankind, involving the elves and whatnot. So he's looking to largely able to unify the realm and put an end to bloodshed. When we talk about a bloodthirst. Now, as far as Legolas and Gimli go, they're pretty much continuing their romance and looking to do some with land and discover new adventures. Now, as far as the friends go and Samwise Gamgee goes, now Sam and the others, well, we pretty much know exactly
Here,
what's
I'm all
behind
right.
them. So, so this is
Ready
pretty
and
much
waiting.
not you guys can hear a little bit of something foreshadowing towards the plot at this point. And well, as far as anything else is concerned, so with both Legolas and Gimli, um, they pretty much know exactly what lies ahead for the time being. Now, as far as Sam and the others go, they're pretty much living peaceful existence in Sire. Have enough electricity. But we all know, guys, the when a lot of us used to read books, coming out of Lord of the Rings for a long time, or over the years to add, there was a lot of rebuilding that took place during the movies that they actually never got into. So so Frodo and Sam, they actually worked really,
Right.
really well together. During this time frame, helping each other out, and I feel like they were pretty much brothers. Not compared to Vin Diesel and the late Paul Walker, but the thing about these adventurers, they actually worked well together. They really, really did, and much more of a short time frame that they recently had. So, and they did. Does keep something closer to them. So, so they're actually trying to follow an undying lance, followed by Legolas and Gimli. So if you guys do not want to hear a spoiler, you guys can have a count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So apparently, guys, they pretty much announced that Aragorn dies in the sequel to Return of the King after being king, of the king of whatever, and king of something that's more mighty. So, so basically, guys, I could continue on for what I've been seeing, and you guys remember, guys, the last Lord of the Rings movie was like, I mean, they've actually got done with Return of the King, back in '03, and we actually did not receive, a lot,
I must concentrate.
a lot of things, going in different directions, different ways. So it has been 14 years since they actually had Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin back then to retrace the first steps of the adventure. So, involving Sam's daughter Eleanor and, the others. And now my question is, how many of these actors, I mean, which of the following actors is coming back and who's not going to be returning? So, and I told my true love, I would go on and on and on, talking a bit more about Lord of the Rings and how many times a lot of us watched it. How many of us watched it through the books? And it would pretty much be enough to really, see what's going to be happening towards a sequel, and that's why it's
Yes?
actually going to be called. And that's exactly that was according to Steve Colbert when he actually watched the movies, in his own way, and pretty much following his own thing, talking about strings attached or anything on it. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that I mean, any director, any talk show host that would really always be inspired by any of that. I mean, if you look at Lord of the Rings, talk about other important things that's
Looking for
more
aught in
evolving
particular?
around it. So, so my question is, since they actually been waiting for 14 years since Return of the King, since 2003, that movie, guys, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King's been released for over 20 plus years. We're talking about 2 decades now. So as far as who's going to be returning, I told my two love about. I told her about this question,
After aught in
question to an
particular?
answer,
Are
and
you
and I
happy?
can tell you guys
Will
my
that be
point of
all?
view. So let me tell you something. So as far as I know,
Don't be.
we are leaning towards both having Viggo Morrison, Orlando Bloom, and Thon Reeds Davies coming back. And was I actually did look up Reeds Davies' health and pretty much his age difference. So I looked up his age yesterday, and it actually did write the following. So apparently he's like 79 now. Actually, no, 81. I mean, not 79. He's actually like 81. Um, Zion will be 82 in a couple months. So if he's looking to, there's a big maybe if he decides to return or not. Orlando Bloom is less young than
Understood.
John Rhys
I
Davies
was
is,
born for this.
but
I'm
both of
ready.
them looked like brothers.
Thought you'd
You know,
never
both of them
ask.
were funny
Ready.
in all three Lord of the Ring movies.
At the ready.
You know, after a large time frame. So, you know, not just them, but also Aragorn, to really attach that to. So, so Lala Obscuka, you can mention anything you want on that too. So apparently, so as far as the actors that are not coming back, well, Masula was asking if Son S is going to be coming back as Samwise Gamgee, and as far as I know, from what I've heard, I don't believe he was I don't believe he was actually asked if he's coming back as Sam for the sequel. So it actually does state there actually are apparently the actors. I mean, the actors you look at now. Now the actors, based on the Hobbits, they were played by Sean Astin, alongside Frodo Baggins as Elijah Wood for a second. So you got Sean Astin, Billy Boyd, and Dominic McNaughton. So these actors, as far as I know, guys, the actors are not going to be returning to the sequel after The Hunt for Gollum. But the other three actors I just mentioned, Orlando Bloom, Viggo Morrison, and Ray Davies. So if Ray Davies can still do something with Gimli, I can see him doing. I can only see him doing his final run as Gimli. To be open and honest with you, guys, as King Guys in the Luckiest Man, I don't see Ray Davies passing the torch to anybody else that wants to be Gimli. You're not going to give it to Michael Caine because Michael Caine is. Remember, he decided to come out of retirement and do some with Vin Diesel for the sequel to The Last Witch Hunter 2. So I don't see why not. But my question is, I feel like if John Davis can still get something a little bit, maybe do something with Gimli one final time, I don't see him having a problem by doing that. Something that really close. After 14 years, that was said after Return of the King. So I can already see. I would assume the other three actors are returning. The Hobbit actors are not. So, it all depends if Elijah Wood's coming back as Frodo by then. I mean, I see it, but I feel like I do see it. But the fact is, if there's enough to really have enough to execute a huge time frame involving, the sequel to Lord of the Rings, which we already know, fellas, is Shadow of the Past now. I feel like they're gonna be able to do what they got to do, and have enough to really have something go straight forward, get something much more to the era, and how it's really going to change it, and how much they're looking to puzzle that up together. So I feel like, I was only guys, back when Lord of the Rings was out for the first time, a lot of us remember how many actors that were in it, how many actors that were, alive and pretty much killed from the story, and pretty much, guys, in its own way. So, and enough to figure out back then. So.
Ready, I'm waiting.
Now, as far as what we actually want out of the new Lord of the Rings, well, here's the thing, guys. I feel like they're doing, from what I've heard, they're actually doing fine. They're pretty much doing okay what's going on with, with Andy Serkis behind the helm for, involving, the Hunt for Gollum for next year. With the actors returning, like, for example, Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, and, the other actors. That's to name a few, so. Now, as far as when the sequel to Hunt for Gollum is going to be released, that we have no clue. I have no clue. But I feel like that will be officially the next thing that Peter Jackson and is looking to do
I'm
with
up
Steve
against
Colbert
it.
in the future. But I couldn't really tell you what's gonna be the plan. After the half a golem, just the planet here and there. So I feel like that's gonna be the mindset, between when Peter Jackson was calling Steve Colbert for that. So I don't see why not. I just, if they can just find the good footprints to attach it, I don't see that being out of the question. I mean, if they want to do the sequel, I don't see that being a problem at all. I was going to mention the other thing about a trailer, but I'll get to that in just a little bit. So before we get to anything else, guys, if you guys want to catch more Final Fantasy Tactics, if you guys want to catch more Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles here on Thursdays, based on the schedule, if I'm at sea for a while, or anything, that's pretty much out of the schedule. You're pretty much out of the equation. If you guys want me to play new games on the schedule, make sure you guys hit that like button, support button, and comment. If you guys have any questions or concerns, you guys can let me know in the live chat, and your king guys and your luckiest man can answer. Let me get a drink out of my tin can for a second. Man, I love this can, guys. You can put anything on it, but I'm only putting water on. Putting water in only. But yeah, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button, support button, and comment.
Of course.
That way, when we go live, you guys can put each
You
other
can
thumbs
trust
up.
me. An excellent choice.
Views and
Take the fight
enough
to
W
her.
rates to
If
get
you
our
say so.
channel back to where we
Forward.
are, and back to where we're at. I mean, that's what I would love to see. I can help you guys. I can help most of you. That's the only thing. You guys can help me ASAP. So, yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button, support button, and comment. Now remember one thing, guys. The most important thing, and also the most important rule, is love, support, and respect is the key. Stay awesome and creative. We are at 643 mods here today, which is pretty much not exactly strange at all. It's pretty much a good opportunity to really share it. That's all there is to it. That's enough to really, not to have a lack of discipline or, be unaware or be exactly unhinged. Just to really have something much more straightforward and have something to break out every once in a while. But not exactly all the time, guys, but only exactly what we can really find out and also have enough to execute on it. So nothing would really compare. Nothing would really unleash anything, from top to bottom. Or enough to really, have a lot of good things, the way we do toward our streams. A lot of
I must
laughter, a lot of
concentrate.
excitement. That's all we can really, as long as, well, I mean, we chose something
How
for
are you
that,
faring?
so
I'll keep
no
fighting.
worries. But yeah, guys, we are now at 643 mods today, which is excellent. And yes, guys, knowledge is power. When we meet and greet, we want to socialize with people. We want to know people about themselves. We want to know about ourselves. What makes us fit in on YT family? Now, YT, guys, does stand for YouTube. And it wasn't my brother Villains. It was exactly, my Lulip Sahi, so, Sahi, I mean, I'm calling it Sahi Shampoo, so that's pretty much exactly what it is, so, but as I was saying, fellas, so, yeah, we are now at 643 months today, which is outstanding to look into. It really, really is. But yeah, we want to meet and greet, we want to see how people are doing, we want to make sure nothing, gets less contemplating and whatnot, and, have enough to really handle. Also, guys, the way we do some good things, meet and greet, and have a lot of socialization. Anytime we manage to find people and socialize with people, when we manage to do that, all we need to do, guys, is follow and share it on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Now you guys remember how long I've been on the social media. I've been on YouTube for 9 years, been on Twitter, X, and Facebook for 7. I've been with my true love. I mean, my true love and I
You
have been
alright?
a romantic young couple, young, what do you call it, guys? Young Christianity romantic couple for the last 9 years. You know, I've been with my true love and Beryl as my priorities out of four, with three of our families for the last 17 years. So that's pretty much a good stardom. I'd say achievement, or pretty much an excitement achievement, if you will. So that's enough to really trigger, have enough to apply, and I lost both of them once. I am losing both of them twice. As long as we, get everything under control, not to have secrets
My
come
turn.
upon us or anything. We don't want to hide stuff forever. That's the main thing. The three of us love each other, for the last 17 years. So well, that's pretty much enough to really allude to and imply and whatnot. Uh, we guys get the idea. Everybody's got their own thing, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So yeah, that's how long I've been on the social media. You guys can check me out. And I'm still keeping the same exact name. Nothing would really change or wipe off anything. It's nothing well. Alright guys, that's gonna wrap everything up for social media. Now as we transition, as King guys and the luckiest man, we're gonna jump into this other good thing. You guys wanna talk about, getting some on April 7th in a couple weeks, or request something big, something small, something to, get towards if you're excited to play something. So, now speaking of playing something, head over to the Steam store. Head over to the Steam store, guys. Make a pre-order, process, make a name account, and buy something. So, guys, head over to the Steam store and buy something. If you guys are buying an old game, buying a special game. If you guys are getting bucks for Rocket League or Fortnite, you guys can play two of those free games. You guys can get to any of the two of them to have fun. Play with friends, play with family. You guys can play any of the two with no extra cost. So yeah, you guys can play the two of them on Steam. Head over to the Steam store. If you guys want to play the two of them, you guys can do it anytime and play them with no extra cost. Maybe you guys are looking to any of the sales today. You guys have till 1 o'clock in the afternoon today to get to this one sale. And the one sale that they actually have, you guys have till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's to target any games you want to buy to them and see what they're actually all about. And, you know, as an institution, or, not to really brag or anything, or, you know, any games that are on that sale, or pretty much that are on the block. You guys can really check out the sale for them. So that's the name of you have games like NBA 2K26, on sale for above 18. You guys can get into the former game of the year. Excuse me, guys. What we already know is Expedition 33. So you guys can check out that game. From what I've heard, that
Easy
game
enough
is
to trade.
awesome. I've heard the reviews were fantastic. They were actually awesome. So you guys can get that for 40. You guys can get RDR2, Red Dead Redemption 2 for 15. You guys can get other games. If you guys are looking to get discounts today, you guys can get Trail Makers for $2.49. You guys can also buy the other two. You got Tabs Totally Accurate Battle Simulator for 2. And you guys can get, who could possibly forget, guys? You guys can also get the battle deal you guys can get for a
No
game
mercy.
here on the Steam store today. You guys can get Call of Duty Modern Warfare for 6, so you guys cannot beat any of that. You guys can get other sales like That's Why We Become Human for 4. I haven't played that in a while. You guys can buy other games like Stalker 2 for 42. You guys can also buy, the Uno stuff again if you want to. If we're looking to sound somebody to do anything for that, so you guys don't want to miss out on any sales that are on the Steam store every year. See what games they actually are cooking up, and see what they actually are. You guys can check them out. But as far as the other stuff goes, now here's the thing. As far as I know,
I won't stop
I
now.
also did check out recently Crimson Desert. As you know, it's King Dice and Luckiest Man. Now the thing about Crimson Desert, I don't expect that game to really beat, the bigger threats for Game of the Year in the future. I mean, sometime this year. I mean, towards the end of the year. And that is, both Resident Evil Requiem and, the other game in its own way. And pretty much in its own establishment, too. And that is, for example, guys, GTA 6. What's going on GTA 6 is pretty much in a heavy grind right now, so that game will still have an opportunity to really share and bond, and I still see that game winning so easily. That game still got it this year. GTA 6, guys, I repeat, GTA still has it this year. That game still got it. So now, if you want to talk about Crimson Desert, I wouldn't give anything back, but I do know Crimson Desert has been doing not too bad on its reviews. Coming out of everybody else's perspective, everybody else's reviews, everybody else that's got something to display between any game that wants to win, who wants to have, much more to qualify. So the thing about Crimson Desert is it's kind of like playing, a different RPG, like Neverwinter, besides playing World of Warcraft or Assassin's Creed. No, Assassin's Creed is better than Crimson Desert by
You've
far.
still got work to do.
That I can really, think of, and also a lot of us can understand it. And everybody's got their own way. Everybody's got their own thing that's,
It'll take more than
inspired
that.
by, Assassin's Creed, God of War,
Right.
and yes, guys, Elden Ring. So the thing about Crimson Desert is, as a matter of fact, it's just, if that game wins anything, it's probably not going to win Game of the Year. I mean, I don't see that winning that much for it. The only few games I mentioned in the past, that I mentioned before, I'll say it again, is I only see either Resident Evil Requiem, GTA 6, and, what do you call it? Those two games, for example, and, maybe Marvel's Wolverine. But we still have to wait and see, guys, how, Wolverine does. I would assume Wolverine does well, but for Game of the Year, maybe. But I doubt GTA 6 would start lighting up. Since they've been hyping for years. So, it all depends. But alright, guys, let's jump into Steam today. After another week. You guys remember my name on Steam? It's Zach Dawson93. The Zach Dawson from Titanic. If you guys have nothing, you entirely have nothing to lose. I've been on Steam for over 5 years now, so nobody can tell you what it really is and what it could really actually mean. Hold on a minute. So these guys won't be able to, outreach me as much, huh? So I don't see why not, but as I was mentioning, guys, been on Steam for 5 years, which is a good idea. A good thing to really put right in. And have something much more handed.
I'm in a bad way.
Well, speaking of handed, guys, if you're looking to buy RPGs, if you guys are in RPGs like Final Fantasy, Assassin's Creed, God of War, Elden Ring, The Last of Us, if you guys are into this game, any of these games would be right for you, depending what's happening for you. If there's any games out there like RPGs you guys want to fit in, don't be afraid to check out Exploration. Don't be afraid to, listen to the music and, hear something exciting, play something interesting. That'll not exactly make you bored. People don't want to be bored if they're just playing board games. If they're just playing Battleship or something. You guys can play any of the RPGs. They've been out for ages. They've been out for decades. And yes, they have. There's a lot of people have done the work for a long time. You guys can jump to any of that without any, frustration. Not to get yourselves harassed as much. There's a lot of games you guys can check out that are based on RPGs in its own way, and pretty much with Swing's attachment to them. If you guys can jump to any of that,
You were
no
right.
problem. So you guys can play any
Come
RPGs.
on.
You know, guys, I've been having a strong grapple with RPGs since I was a kid. So don't be afraid to check out. I believe the RPGs that are on sale are pretty much, you know, holding on, you know, until one. I mean, as far as I know, towards 1 o'clock this afternoon. So it doesn't separate the man from the boys. So you guys can get them when you guys get a chance. Don't be afraid to get them. You guys can get them at any time before this afternoon starts. Besides,
Was a good one.
we already have spring now, so there's enough to really carry. There's enough to really, you know, have good
I still have
opportunities
the
and,
will.
you know, have to swap place to place for them. But good options, though. You know, migration. I guess 102. Let's just bounce the basketball out of one of these enemies. As long as they're not like cactuses or anything, so nobody will tell something differently about it, or pretty much anything without pretty much out of the question. So just whatever it could be. We'll just try and
Never a doubt.
kill the rest of this monster for a second.
Well, this is the
But
end.
let's put the other two. But yeah, you guys can play any RPGs you want. You guys can get any RPGs you want. Even if you want to cast a
Up on your feet.
pre-order for it.
Too kind.
So it all depends on Sorrows, and if you guys are looking to pre-order Lego Batman. Now the Legacy of the Dark Knight, guys, with this Lego Batman, I can see that game doing fine. That game should do fine, you know, towards sometime this year. So that would not be anything else to, you know, loosen a lot of muscle. But I can see Batman doing well.
Bad way.
I mean, hopefully it does well. So have enough to really supervise and also enough to, you know, just take a shot at one time. But yeah,
I must concentrate.
if you guys are in, now speaking of RPGs, if you guys are persuading another opportunity, like if you guys are buying sports games, like baseball, basic tennis, golf, football, basketball, you guys can buy any sports games. You guys can pre-order, maybe get sports games that are on sale. You guys can buy any sports games, you know. If you guys are familiar with any of them, you guys can, you know, play any games you want. So you guys can buy any sports games. You guys can buy the original price or the sale price, see what they are. And you guys can buy any of them with no extra cost. You guys can check out my brother Beatles. Go to youtube.com/BeatlesEternally. He's got a lot of things that is going well for him right now. You know, especially with, you know, Out of the Park Baseball. He recently got done with a live stream at the end of last night, and, you know, he calls me Brother Jack, I call him Brother Beatles, and I try to get the games that are highlighted for him, you know, for a lot of people to check out. So if you guys want to check out his channel, check him out. He's a really nice guy. Just go to youtube.com, guys. /Beatles Eternally. And if you guys want to know what my brother Beatles' project is, and the stuff that he really loves about baseball, along with me and the others, pretty much in their own way, and also have enough electricity to really, you know, light up a little bit more, and, you know, have something to, you know, have a lot of fun, a lot of plans, a lot of anything you guys can look for in a game of baseball, or anything to attach towards anything else above it. It won't be that bad to find out. It won't be able to,
No cause for concern.
you know, be that bad to seek an answer for it, an answer to a question on it. So if you're looking to check what my brother Beatles does for his projects, now here's the thing, guys. Now what my brother Beatles does exactly, he enjoys playing Out of the Park Baseball, Diamond Mine Baseball, Action PC Baseball. My brother Beatles also does, he's back to doing a little bit with, not just Action PC Baseball, but he's actually doing something with PSN Baseball, which I haven't got started with going back into that yet. I mean, I still have it on my PC, after I summoned it back for a while. So, a while and, pretty much enough towards its development and whatnot. So you guys can check out my brother Beatles. Beatles Eternally is exactly his channel name.
What's next?
He's always been, he's a fun, fantastic,
I must concentrate.
baseball fan for a long time, and terrific guy. So you guys can check him out. Now, as far as what I've been up to, I just got done with game number 7. Now I can tell you guys for what it's worth. Now, as far as I know, I actually did get done with game 7 of my 1923 Pirates season, which I'll get to my other 7th game that I've done with my 1992 Pirates season. So basically, it's pretty much the same, but not exactly unheard of. But pretty much with a lot of tuition. Good morning, Bristol Lee. Make a love shout out, my brother. How are you today? Happy Thursday to you, sir, and also the rest of us today. And a lot of things to refresh in our memory for a minute. But yeah, when they say, guys, I don't care to lose. I want to win. Winning matters. And remember, guys, win or lose, it doesn't matter. So, no, everything else has still been the same with, with baseball and whatnot. I strongly love baseball, along with RPGs. That's the only field that stand out to me. That really stands out towards a lot of us, in our blood, a lot of, things that we want to, have enough melodies, have enough to, not get bored all the time. So, baseball and RPGs are really eluded for me. That's what matters, and that's exactly what it is. So, now if you guys are looking to buy something on the pre-order and also pre-purchase, you guys can buy the new thing that Baseball Headquarters recently announced. Just remember, on April 7th, Payoff Tabletop, what do you call it, guys? Tabletop baseball game is going to be heading to Steam in a couple weeks, and that is on April 7th. You guys can get Payoff Pets on Steam. So, I mean, I'm going to try to get it, but it just depends what we're going to be doing. I mean, if I do get Payoff Pets soon, I won't have that much spending that I can, afford or pretty much tackle, though. Not to really be, self-controlled, or you talk about self-absorbed to anything, but I do know my brother Beatles is, as far as I know, brother Beatles is probably getting it soon. I mean, I want to get that establishment too, but
in safe hands with me.
I still want to get back to buying games again, sometime this year. Have enough to really afford, not exactly be rust on anything, but if you guys really want to, do some with, so this new tabletop, guys, it's called Game Pulse Payoff Pets. So you guys can pre-purchase that. This game will be releasing in under 2 weeks. The only few that I've always spoke to is, the only one is my brother Beatles. He's actually interested in buying this game too. Buying that game in return. So the thing about Payoff Pets, you guys can, it's kind of like playing something through, it's pretty much different, but the same as Out of the Park Baseball as, or even if you're playing Stratomatic Baseball, which I do know, Sports Time Machine, what do you call it, guys? Utah Mike, aka STM, or I'll just call him Sports Time Machine. So apparently Utah Mike, he's actually been getting back into baseball for quite some time, and he's just got done doing a live stream, and my brother Beatles and I want Utah Mike to get back to live streaming on when he's been doing on the schedule, and get back to rocking and rolling. So the thing about Payoff Pets, it's pretty much the same. You guys can manage a team of a full season of games, momentum, matchups, have something with the outcome for the time being. So you guys can do a lot of things with that, with payout pits. So this is pretty much the first time. This is pretty much the first time. Instead of out of the park, here's the thing. Instead of out of the park baseball releasing every year, you talk about payout pits. So that's something to think about. That's something to think about if we want to draw electricity, if we want to draw excitement to get this game. Now I actually did check out the price value. It's gonna be under 50 USD. So as far as I know, that game will be releasing on April 7th, and there's enough to really get your hands on, with the horns on it. And if we're not looking to play a musical guitar, a lot of us do not know what's going to be, what a lot of people are going to be playing. I know a lot of you guys in the back, a lot of you guys in the chat, especially my brother Beatles. I know he's going to be attached to playing Payoff Piss on Steam this year. Here's the thing. You look at what a lot of people have been doing for a long time. You talk about playing baseball. You talk about playing other sports games. But nothing more would stand out for us than baseball itself. Baseball itself at one time. And it really is. It's not something that's more... It really takes us something towards a new level, and it really, really does for me. And it really does for you guys too. So that's the only thing about baseball. You wanna have your limitations. But here's the thing about payoff pits, though. You guys can do something different of what Pocket Pet Run was. That was pretty much. That game is pretty much created by Paul Fay, so you guys can check him out. So the thing about payoff pits is, something that's more closer to us. So you guys can guide your team. You guys can take on matchups, do your own lineups. Do your team lineups, how you actually want to play them, and manage your team. You talk about raising the stakes. You talk about highs and lows and whatnot. So the thing about that, it actually is inspired by Game Pulse. And from what I've heard, I feel like Payoff Pits is going to be amazing. This is pretty much what I'm thinking here and there. And pretty much lack of confidence right there. So, not to have the lack of qualifications attached to it. So, I think, who else would want it more? Who else would want to play Payoff Pits? Payoff Pits, I've never played it here. I haven't played it here at home. I haven't played it as a board game or anything. It's just, if I'm hoping to get Payoff Pits, I'm going to take my time by buying it.
My turn.
I don't think I'll buy it right now, but I could try to get the time to get it. It just depends where we're at between next year's Hog Trip and whatnot. So I can probably get it sometime this year. Or I can get it with my 33rd birthday if it's possible, but we'll see. So you guys can check. There's some good things. The cards and dice for payoff pits. You guys remember playing them on your channel. For past to present. Not exactly from tablets to books. You guys can play any of that. But you guys can purchase payoff pits if you want. So, Paces of O2. There's a lot of electricity to really look ahead. But yeah, but alright guys. That's gonna be the end of Steam for today. Don't forget to check out my brother Beatles. Go to youtube.com/Beatles Eternally. You guys will be intrigued at what the stuff he's been doing, and you guys will like it. You guys will love it. And it's kind of like opening a gift, opening something you guys haven't seen yet, or a lot of us can go where no one has gone before, and only by Star Trek. But alright guys, speaking of other stuff today, the most important thing, and the most good treat to keep in mind, is love, support, and respect is the key. It's the awesome and creative, guys. We got 643 mods of our group, and pretty much our rogue tail, and pretty much something much more official. And yes guys, knowledge is power. So, we are 643 mods, which is pretty much not a bad conclusion or a bad establishment. So, So people wouldn't have to skip around and not do anything. As long as people don't have to do a lot of jumping jacks or do something
I
that
must
a lot
concentrate.
of us want to get prepared. Have something much more fortunate. So we'll see, guys. But I repeat, I probably won't. If I had to guess, if I'm taking my time by getting payoff pits this year,
Here,
just
I'll
think if it's
make it
going to
up
be
to you.
releasing on April 7th, after next week, I might take my time by buying it. I won't buy it that. I won't buy it that quick. I want to see how you guys
This
as
bloody
baseball
hurts.
creators coming out of the chat and my four priorities do, and what you guys really think of it. So we're gonna see how that's going to go. We'll see how that's gonna be attached, and people. I know a lot of you guys will love it. I can see the reviews doing, as far as I know, pretty much well, and see what a lot of us are looking to be intrigued. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We have till then.
I'll do what I
So,
can.
speaking of other stuff, guys. So yeah, yes, guys. Now it's power. We're now at 643 mods, which is excellent.
Let's get this over with.
If you guys want to help out the channel, that'd be great. Don't wait around forever. To help out with W8s and some huge stuff to begin with, and you know, we're pretty much already in spring since this past Sunday, and special occasions. It's to pay our respects. So yeah, we don't have to worry about any more snow until maybe early
My turn.
April, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, we don't want to have to jinx that for the time being. So, but we never know what's going to be holding. It just determines how the weather, if the weather decides to upset or just wants to change at the last minute. So it can
I'm up
change
against
towards
it.
anything. So we'll see what happens. We don't want to
Are you alright?
have something to waste or anything, but we'll be fine. But yeah, guys.
Too
So
kind.
the only way we can get my numbers up, I can get your numbers up on the channel, is we watch our videos in full, get enough height stakes, get the high rates and whatnot between W8s. Don't forget, guys, when you jump into a live stream, remember, guys, like
Where
it,
to?
love it, share it, and add it towards for people to watch and for people to check out too. So it's not that hard to find out. It's not that hard to execute it. Well, remember, guys, like it, share, comment, and follow. Like,
This'll
share,
suit
comment, and
you.
follow. That way we can work together on W rates and our channel and how much bonding that we can always have together. So a lot of us know how to work very, very well together. That's all there is.
Better than
Proven
ever.
veterans, guys. We got him. As long as it's not the Red Alert trying to get somebody by counting on it. I'm calling Batman to, rescue Chase Meridian and Batman Forever, so that's enough to really relate to. It really is. But alright, guys, the most important thing to really get attached to our channels and assign them is we watch our videos in full. Like and share the stream, guys. So we have our social media. 3 of them, guys: Facebook, Twitter, X, and YouTube. They have our social media lined up and our podcast services all around the globe, like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and so much more. Now, if you guys want to talk about other stuff that we haven't exactly been poised or been exactly getting to yet, I won't. Oh yeah, guys, there's another trail that I was thinking too,
Welcome after all in particular.
besides Dune Part 3
Are you happy?
and anything with
Will that come?
sequel to anything else strong with Lord of the Rings on them. The other one I
Right.
was thinking of is a trailer for Harry Potter. That's exactly what I was thinking. So apparently the thing with Harry Potter is, we've seen a lot of actors like, the actors that come and go at the eyes of the Lord. You've got the actors that are still alive is Daniel Radcliffe. Here's the thing, guys. Daniel Radcliffe is one. Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Gary Oldman. A few of the other actors that were in the past and present, like playing Albus Dumbledore, playing Severus Snape, what's his Alan Rickman or whatever. usually with those actors in mind. Now here's the thing about this, guys. Here's the thing about that, or here and there. So apparently, YouTube actually IGN uploaded the new first ever trailer of what we're going to be expecting this coming Christmas time for later on, towards the end of the year. Which is pretty much
You can trust
pretty
me.
much Harry
It's time.
Potter. So the trailer they actually called it
Your command.
was
Ready.
this one trailer. It's called
time.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Philosopher's Stone, guys. Not exactly Sorcerer's Stone. Now, Sorcerer's Stone was here's the thing, guys, it was exactly the first Harry Potter movie. Since I was like 4 years old. Back in 1997. Or it may have been 2001. So during that time, a lot of actors were youngsters. A lot of people did not see what the others pretty much are and what they pretty much could be. So I actually did check out the trailer yesterday, and I wouldn't exactly call the Harry Potter Philosopher's Stone trailer that bad. I mean, we don't have to expect that till, as far as I know, it's gonna be sometime. It will be at the end of this year. It will be during Christmas time. So, now as far as what actors that are in it, I don't believe we talked a lot about introduction, the detail of who's playing who. But I do know if we're looking at in its own ways, without the actors that were in all Harry Potter movies for a long time. When you talk about having enough to present it, or anything to present itself or anything.
Ready and waiting.
Guys, remember, J.K. Rowling is the only book author, or the only one that would do Harry Potter, from top to bottom. You talk about having your bread and butter. You talk about making something for Harry Potter. You talk about your favorite main villain, which is Lord Voldemort for a long time. So he's always been the responsible main villain that would target and try to kill Harry Potter in all 8 Harry Potter movies, like when Daniel Radcliffe was Harry at the time. So if you look at it in its own way and have enough to vision, I'm not sure if the one that played as Tom Riddle, or you talk about Lord Voldemort at the time, I'm not sure if I'm not 100% sure if we're assuming if he's coming back. I would probably say no, because as far as I know, he's like 60. So I would assume he's not coming back as Tom Riddle, especially if they hire like somebody like Liam Neeson being in Harry Potter. Which I know Liam Neeson is. I don't see Liam Neeson being in Harry Potter, project in its own perspective. So I don't expect him to, do something with him. We do something with Harry Potter at his finest. So I repeat, I did check out the Harry Potter trailer. It's called The Philosopher's Stone. That's what passes up. So, I thought it wasn't bad or anything, but I want to see how Philosopher's Stone does. I want to see how much they actually, I want to see how much work they pretty much exactly put in. I want to see how well they did. I want to see how much work they put in. So I want to see how well they did it. So, and who does not like a game of Quidditch during that time? So you see, it's kind of like playing basketball. It's kind of like playing, as a 2-time first place winner. It's different from bowling. It's different from basketball. It's different between anything to, protect our sport. More fortunate. One to enjoy. One to imply. So, all I can say is, I wasn't surprised by the trailer. For Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. For a majority of the time. I do see. I would assume the series, by the time we get it, it's not leaning towards Christmas time. Through the holidays. Later on this year. Towards later on this year for the remainder. I can see it doing okay in the reviews, but if they actually miss one or two things on Harry Potter, Warner Brothers needs to work something out quick. That's all I can tell you right now. But I don't believe there's much to really enhance, and how much they actually went in, and pretty much how much they gone through to, get Philosopher's Stone of Harry Potter going. But this is something that Warner Brothers was praising since day one.
It'll take more than
They were
that.
talking about Daniel Radcliffe not coming back as Harry Potter, and have something with the cursed child attached to it, and that wasn't. I mean, that was going to be the plan, but no. Somebody did actually state the following by stating no. They actually did not want the fans to really expect it, and just let the actors be exactly what they actually want to be. Also with Rupert Grint and the other actors. Especially Robert Pattinson. Now, Robert Pattinson, he's actually gonna be in. I mean, he's got a movie with Zendaya that's
Come
gonna be
on.
releasing in theaters very soon. So, and he's also gonna be now Robert Pattinson, guys. He will also be in the third and final part of Dune this coming Christmas time. By the time it battles, so we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Let's get to in-gaming news today from your king and your. You guys remember what tomorrow is? Tomorrow's Good Friday, so Love does not have to worry about work, and I believe Beryl does not have to worry
Come on.
about much of that either. So, yeah, there's really not much as far as Good Friday is concerned. Have enough to really have enough relaxation. And yes, guys, a lot of people love to sleep in, so why not? So speaking of other stuff, fellas, so as far as anything else goes, actually, guys, if I had to guess, let's double check real quick. Um, yeah, there's really not a lot of in-gaming news today since tomorrow's, Good Friday, and you know what they say, guys. Every day is a good day, as long as you're in God's sense of humor. That's all there is to it. That's enough to really, have a lot of confidence and have enough to certify for it. As long as there's no tides affairs that are attached to it. So, no worries. So as far as I know, besides in gaming news today, I wouldn't hate the idea of what the plans are. If there's only like maybe like a bit of cards stacked, involving Lord of the Rings, and I do know Steve Colbert's a nice guy.
Here I
I mean,
go.
he's a terrific guy. When he recently did some with his own late talk show, we all know Conan O'Brien was doing that. You know, we all know he was doing that for a long time too. And you look at him and Jimmy Kimmel. So Jimmy Kimmel is, he's doing what he's doing with, as a talk show host, and different from Howard Stern and whatnot. So it's just, whatever Dave can really add for the Shadow of the Past after Hunt the Golem next year.
What's next?
That is exactly what we're leaning towards right now. So, between Steve Colbert and, of course, guys, Peter Jackson. So we'll see what's going on, in the future. I can see it being interesting. I can see how it's going to work out. And, back when Steve Colbert was, originally influenced by movies for a long time,
Up
you
now.
know, this was exactly the last part he mentioned when he was talking with Peter Jackson, and he actually did state Steve Colbert did actually state the following. He said, "Let me finish off my talk show. Let me finish off my talk show interview, and then I've got a movie to
I
write."
must
So, which we
concentrate.
all know is as I mentioned, it's pretty much going to be the new Lord of the Rings that he's already going to be doing. So if I had to guess when Shadow of the Past, guys, the
It's
sequel
looking
to
dire.
Return of the King is releasing. Well, this is just my opinion. I would assume Shadow of the Past
Got a
won't
meeting to
release
contend with.
till the next 2 years. I would assume that won't release till then.
Do
But
I
yeah, if
look
they actually
stronger?
want to release something with, with Steve Colbert being hired to do some with, with writing, I can see him and Peter Jackson doing not bad by working together. So, Peter Jackson was, he recently did
Very
his
well.
directing since day one. When, back when back when Tolkien actually did books in its own way. Pretty much having its own stories, having its own, characteristics and whatnot. So I feel like if Tolkien is not exactly proud of that, of what the plan is for Steve Colbert, and you know, guys, Peter Jackson does it well. With not just exactly Lord of the Rings, but also The Hobbit in its own way, and involving its production team and also its partnership to get these actors to do this
Greetings. I didn't
and
catch
pretty
your
much do
eye.
this or that. So,
Are you
um,
thank you.
so I repeat, as I mentioned earlier today during the live stream, I don't see. We already know
All
that
that come?
Sean Astin and the two Hobbit actors are not coming back. So we pretty much are aware of that. So I wouldn't hate the idea. It's just, if everything else is not stacked up as it is, I don't see why not. It's because, there's a reason. The reason why is because, well, Sean Astin's like in his 50s. I know he's not exactly in his 60s right now, since, he's got a
Greetings. Didn't
family,
catch
he's
your eye. Would
married,
that be
and
all? You're in safe hands with me.
I think part of me, guys, as King Guy's the luckiest man, I,
This is your
I don't
custom.
hate the idea that, if he doesn't have the desire to come back, we don't blame him. We don't blame, Merry and Pippin actor and whatnot, between the hobbits and whatnot,
By
but
all means.
I do know if they're looking to roll the
May
dice
I put
with,
I
with, between, both Eliza Wood and Ian McKellen, both of them actually worked good together. They actually, they actually, they've known each other for a long time in real life, so I don't see why not. It's just there's a lot of things people are going to do of what they're looking to really attach themselves by doing. It just depends how Steve Colbert favors. If he does something much more sharp, that will get the fans seeing what they actually want to see, people wouldn't hate the idea. People would just have a bold prediction. So, if we look at Lord of the Rings, you know, guys, the movies. If you look at Lord of the Rings, you look at Game of Thrones, you look at, let's really repeat, between story after story. Um, guys, movies are pretty much different towards what books have in their own way. They tell what's going on. They tell a lot of us what this is pretty much planned. What they're actually not. Just to really see what's really taking place. And remember, guys, saying K.K. Tolkien is. I know he's not exactly happy that Steve Colbert is doing some with Lord of the Rings, but all I know is, guys, if he's doing something that takes his time out of his, talk show series, I feel like if he's doing something with Lord of the Rings, with him and, I repeat, guys, between him and Peter Jackson, you know, I don't see why not. If the two of them do something good together, we have to wait and see how the Hunt for Gollum does first. If any circus. Here's the thing, guys. When Andy Serkis did, when he recently voices Gollum, he did not get a lot of time at Fellowship of the Ring. So we all know that was going to be a bit of the, here's the guys, the little bit of the attached plan. So so the fact is, Andy Serkis, if he's actually since he's actually doing well for the production team for for the Hunt for Gollum for next year, he's also going to be voicing as Gollum as well. At least by next year, the same way at the same time. So I do know the scripts are going to be finalized. I think sometime, I would assume sometime in the fall. But I wouldn't regret if people are not doing something wrong with the Hunt for Gollum. But we are curious to see what Steve Colbert has up his sleeve. With him working with Peter Jackson for the sequel to Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. So, we have a lot of time in the world. We have a lot of things in our pockets, and we'll see what's going on. So, I don't want to say this enough to really, tell you guys what I told my two love and barrel in the back, but what I'm telling you guys out of four priorities that I have. So I feel like if they're going to do something, all I know is the cards are going to be a little bit more stacked, and the characters are going to be stacked. Just to work so hard of what they're actually plotting, of what they're actually going to be doing. So yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be called, guys. A sequel to Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. It's going to be called The Lord of the Rings: Shadow of the Past. So yeah, that's been official, at least from what I've been hearing. All right, guys. That's gonna wrap everything up for today. I do want to thank you guys for joining me this morning. It's as it's King Guys and the Luckiest Man with our biggest, strongest, phenomenal, exciting, fantastic, excellent, awesome, loving, caring, supportive, terrific, strongest power of our community. Our exciting, awesome, strongest power of our community. Do what we can for one another. So that's gonna wrap everything up for today. So based on the schedule, I did check out my team schedule for the upcoming week, and I still got the same thing. So I'm still doing Monday. Here's the thing, guys. I still got Monday 9 to 2s, Wednesday, Thursday 2 to 7. So I was thinking a bit of an idea since you guys know, since there's not much going on Fridays. I feel like, do I want to live stream tomorrow? You guys remember, I don't live stream on Wednesdays and Fridays, but usually if I'm sleeping in on Saturdays, there's not much going on. But I will be back with nice people at Steve, guys, and also my two nice bosses of mine. So today, guys, I've got 2 to 7. Did 2 to 7 yesterday. Chief overall was good yesterday. Just to get a reminder out. So I'll have 2 to 7 today through yesterday, and also again through today, and then I'm off tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So without any strings attached, here's the thing. What if I did something with Killing Floor 3 instead of Saturdays? Maybe try to suit a premiere towards tomorrow. I mean, if that's the case, it all depends how tired I am. If not, I strongly think if I can hopefully I can, stop, pretty much stop being sleepless or anything. If I'm hoping to hopefully get back to Hogwarts Legacy on Sundays, if it's a possibility. So it could be something I actually want to get back to doing, based on the schedule. So, even though I've been tired all the time, people have a right to use it. People have a right to rest, in a hard day's work, exercising. But, we'll see what happens, guys. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn and say we haven't done much, but, we'll see what we can do. It's just, I could remove Saturdays and move up a little bit to Fridays. If I try to premiere I could maybe. It's not a guarantee. I could maybe shoot a premiere tomorrow and do some with Killing Floor 3 from Saturdays to Fridays if I move it. So we'll see what happens. Give you guys info and posted. It's King Guys and the Luckiest Man. Now, if you guys want to catch more Final Fantasy Tactics, Ivalice Chronicles every Thursday, if I got seen for a while on the schedule, and just to make some freedom, have enough times to get ahead. Make sure you guys hit that like button, support button, and comment. Um, Hold on, let me get this message right here. I completed game 7. But yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button, support button, and comment. If you guys have any questions or concerns, welcome to tell me in the chat. I have 643 mods and our followers, and your king guys and your luckiest man, which is me, guys. I can answer any questions you have. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens towards tomorrow and Sunday, but I got to get through what lies ahead between my two love and I and Barrel, and with our priorities at hand. So we'll see what happens. But I'm my minimum, guys, is 4 priorities. I'm not doing 5, 6, or 7. So, but we'll see what happens. So losing after 1 win. Well, guys, there we go. Okay, 17. Hold on, guys. Let me finish this one off real quick. 5. Okay, there we go. 17. It will just take a bit of a minute, just a little minute, guys. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But we don't want to get ourselves rust or, cause lack of concentration or amusing. But yeah, guys, the most important thing and the most key is the awesome and creative. And yes, guys, knowledge is power. And thank you so much for stopping by. My love's Kooky. A lot of you guys are welcome to hang out anytime you want. But don't forget to check out my brother Beatles, guys. Type on YouTube. Go to youtube.com. Actually, go to YouTube. Type in Beatles Eternally. Check out his baseball projects, and anytime I put a game in, type in a result, whatever baseball game we're playing, I let my brother Beatles and you guys fill it in. I fill a lot of you guys in to see what's going on, and as a matter of fact, just to see what everything takes place, what the teams were, what the final scores were. That's exactly what it is. At this point, we always want to try anything. Try something new, try something special. It really is. But, like I said, guys, we'll see what happens. Have enough to control, and have a mastermind. And have your eyes attached to stay focused on. So, we'll see what happens, guys. I repeat, I can maybe squeeze a live stream and replace Fridays and not do live stream on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but we'll see what happens. Give guys info and post it. Depends if I'm tired or not exactly feeling down, but keep everything else up a little bit. But yeah, guys, anytime we manage to find people and socialize with people, all we need to do is follow and share it on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you guys wanna have anything to hang with or see what we're doing here, we're not that hard to find. We're not that hard to really display something in a live stream. So we'll see where everything else fits in and keep everything under control. So yeah, so I repeat, fellas. So tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow's Good Friday. Now, as far as I know, What's Love and Beryl don't have to worry about anything with work tomorrow. So that's out of the question. She told me she's going to be relaxing for 9. I decided to sleep in for a while. So we're hoping to do dinner on Saturday and do some for us and see what we can do going forward. Well, remember, guys, after today, 2 to 7 through Nice People at Steve, also Nick and also the other 2. Remember, guys, I'm off tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So get that do Monday, Thursday, and Friday all over again on the new schedule. So So yeah, if you guys are looking to buy PR pets, a game will officially release on April 7th. So we'll see what goes on. I will take my time by buying it on Steam. So I already know the price. So keep everything else under control. Don't forget to check out my brother Beatles Eternally on the channel. Just head to YouTube. Let's go to youtube.com/Beatles Eternally, and you guys will say you guys can tell them I sent them. I sent you guys there. And you guys will send them to me if you guys get the time. But alright, guys. To help grade, increase our channels, like W rates and some fun stuff, and pretty much get some. Most importantly, to get back to get our numbers to gain instead of decreasing. That's only going to be exactly what we want to focus on. But the more we focus, the more we can get everything else to upgrade. But the way we do that, guys, is we watch our videos in full, like and share the stream, guys. You can see we have our social media, like Facebook, Twitter X, and YouTube, on all three accounts to add. And yes, guys, our podcast services all around the globe, like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So, alright, guys, that'll wrap everything up for Thursday. I'm gonna be relaxing for a while, as I mostly do, and then tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Friday. Tomorrow is Good Friday. Tomorrow's Good Friday. This is actually tomorrow. So maybe I can maybe suit. This is not a guarantee. It's not a positive percentage. I can maybe set up a premiere of Killing Floor 3 and do new episodes on Fridays. But if it doesn't happen, I should be back hopefully on Sunday. Same time, same channel, guys. It's King and the Luckiest Man for, hopefully get an episode of Hogwarts Legacy on Sunday. So keep guys info and post it and, see what we want to do and have enough to, capitalize. Alright, guys, you guys have a good rest of your Thursday. Be good to one another, be kind, and love one another. So I repeat, maybe tomorrow, and keep everything in possession on Sunday. So, as always, guys, your king and your luckiest man is always here. If you guys have any questions or concerns, we can always get some easily to answer. But alright, guys, have a good rest of your Thursday. Have a good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. And I will see you guys in the next one. And